There's a city in Central Asia where three massive turquoise domes rise from the desert floor, covered in geometric tiles so precise they look machine-made, except they were built 600 years ago, by hand, for an empire that ruled half the known world. Most people have never heard of it. And that's exactly why you need to go. This is Uzbekistan. And it's one of the most extraordinary places on earth for solo travel. Number 1. Samarkand will stop you dead in your tracks. Samarkand is the kind of city you see in photos and assume has been dramatized. It hasn't. The Registan, a central square surrounded by three massive madrasas covered entirely in intricate blue tilework, is exactly as overwhelming in person as every photo suggests. More, even. The scale is difficult to describe. Each madrasa is stories high, covered floor to ceiling in geometric mosaics that have survived earthquakes, invasions, and centuries of Central Asian winters. You walk into the central courtyard and the sound of the city disappears. You're standing in something that's been standing since 1420. For solo travelers, Samarkand is incredibly easy to navigate. The main sites are walkable from the center. There are guesthouses and hostels for every budget. And because the city sees a fraction of the tourists that hit Istanbul or Rome, the experience is genuinely intimate. Set aside at least 2 full days here. One isn't enough. Number 2. Bukhara is even better. If Samarkand gets the attention, Bukhara gets the soul. This is one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities in Central Asia. People have been living here for over 2,500 years. The old city is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and unlike most UNESCO sites, it actually deserves it. The Kailan minaret was built in 1127 and is so perfectly constructed that Genghis Khan, who destroyed virtually everything in his path, reportedly ordered his army to stop and leave it standing. It's still standing today. At sunset, the mud brick buildings turn amber and the call to prayer echoes across the low skyline. There are no crowds. There are no tour buses. There's almost nobody there. Budget guesthouses here are some of the best value in all of Central Asia, traditional courtyard houses with hand-painted ceilings, homemade breakfast included, for $15 to $20 a night. Number 3. Khiva is an open-air museum that's actually lived in. Khiva is a small, walled city in the west of Uzbekistan, near the border with Turkmenistan. The Ichin Kala, the inner fortress, is one of the best preserved examples of Central Asian medieval architecture anywhere in the world. Walking through it feels like stepping into a film set, except the city is real and people actually live there. Narrow alleyways wind between ancient mud brick walls. Minarets appear around every corner. There are almost no other tourists. Getting to Khiva requires some effort, an overnight train from Bukhara, or a flight from Tashkent. That effort is exactly what keeps the crowds away. And once you're there, it's one of the most memorable places you've ever seen. Number 4. The food and the bazaars will take over your days. Uzbek cuisine is built around rice, meat, and bread, 3 ingredients that become something extraordinary when prepared correctly. Plav is the national dish, a slow-cooked rice pilaf with lamb, carrots, and spices, made in enormous cast-iron kazan pots over open fires. It sounds simple. It is not simple. The flavor is completely unlike anything you've had before. Samsa are flaky, oven-baked pastries filled with lamb or pumpkin. Naan is a round flatbread stamped with intricate patterns and baked in clay ovens called tanders. You eat it with everything. The covered bazaars, especially the Korsu Bazaar in Tashkent, are sensory overload in the best possible way. Silk, spices, dried fruit, handmade ceramics, and mountains of fresh produce are sold under ancient domed ceilings. Budget around $2 to $4 per meal at local spots. Number 5. The people are genuinely unlike anywhere else. Central Asian hospitality operates on a different frequency. In Uzbekistan, being a guest is a matter of cultural honor. Locals will offer you tea, food, and conversation with absolutely nothing asked in return. Solo travelers regularly report being invited to family gatherings, wedding celebrations, and home-cooked meals by people they met on the street. Older Uzbeks often speak Russian as a second language from the Soviet era. Younger people increasingly speak English. But even without a common language, communication happens. The curiosity is mutual. Many Uzbeks have rarely spoken to a solo Western traveler. You become interesting to them in the same way they are interesting to you. That exchange is one of the most memorable parts of the trip. Number 6. It costs almost nothing. Uzbekistan uses the Uzbek som. The exchange rate sounds absurd. $1 buys roughly 12,000 som, but the purchasing power is real. A bed in a hostel runs $3 to $7 a night. A private room in a traditional guest house is $12 to $20. A full meal at a local restaurant, plav, bread, tea, salad, is $2 to $4. A taxi across the city is under $1. A complete week in Uzbekistan, covering 3 cities with accommodation, food, transport, and entrance fees, is achievable for $200 to $250 total. That includes Samarkand, Bukhara, and Khiva. Number 7. The history is staggering. Uzbekistan sits at the heart of the ancient Silk Road, the trade network that connected China to Rome for over 1,000 years. These cities were not outposts. They were some of the wealthiest and most cosmopolitan places on earth. Scholars, merchants, astronomers, and poets traveled through Samarkand and Bukhara when London and Paris were still small towns. The Timurid Empire, based in Samarkand, produced some of the most sophisticated art, architecture, and science of the medieval world. The astronomical observatory built here in the 1420s was more accurate than anything in Europe at the time. Walking through these cities, that history is not abstract. It's in the stones under your feet. Number 8. Tashkent gives you a different angle. The capital city of Tashkent was largely rebuilt after a massive earthquake in 1966, so it has a very different feel from the ancient trio of Samarkand, Bukhara, and Khiva. Wide Soviet boulevards, modern metro stations decorated with mosaics and marble, and a growing skyline of contemporary architecture. It's a useful entry and exit point, and worth a full day on its own. The metro is genuinely impressive, each station has a different design, and the whole system runs efficiently and cheaply. The Korsu Bazaar here is one of the best in the country. Number 9. Getting there in visas. Uzbekistan has made entry significantly easier in recent years. Citizens of the US, EU, UK, and many other countries can visit visa-free for up to 30 days, with options to extend. The e-visa system is simple for countries that need one. Tashkent has an international airport with connections to Istanbul, Dubai, Moscow, and several European cities. It's also the hub for Uzbekistan Airways, which has flights across Central Asia. From Tashkent, trains connect to Samarkand in 2 hours and Bukhara in 4. The high-speed Afrosiab train is comfortable and reliable. Number 10. It's the gateway to all of Central Asia. From Uzbekistan, you can reach Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Tajikistan easily, all of which we'll cover in future videos in this series. Each country is completely different in character. Kyrgyzstan is mountains and nomadic culture. Tajikistan is remote and dramatic. Kazakhstan is vast, modern, and deeply strange in the best possible way. Uzbekistan is the natural starting point for exploring this entire region. The infrastructure is better than its neighbors, the cities are extraordinary, and the cost of everything gives you room to explore without financial pressure. The Silk Road is not a metaphor. It's a collection of actual cities that have stood for over 1,000 years. Most of them are in Uzbekistan. And almost nobody goes. Subscribe for the next video. We're heading to Kyrgyzstan, where the mountains go up to 7,000 meters and the nomadic culture is unlike anything else in the world. See you there.